President Trump signed an executive memorandum Thursday slapping $50 billion in annual tariffs and other penalties on a broad range of imported Chinese products, fooling his campaign promise to challenge a rising and increasingly rogue China. The move is justified and long overdue. The Office of the U.S. Trade Representative will publish a list of targeted products in 15 days. That will be followed by a 30-day period for public comment. Tariffs will not be imposed for 60 days, to allow time for comment. Nervous traders on Wall Street initially sent stock prices tumbling in reaction to reports that the president would impose the tariffs. But in the long run, the president's action will be a plus for the U.S. economy and preserve American jobs. By acting decisively, the president has once again proven that he will take on the toughest of foreign policy challenges, knowing there could be major political repercussions. And while many pundits are calling the president's action a mistake, the start of a potential trade war, or even foolish, I have a better definition: it's called leadership. President Trump framed Thursday's actions as a response to blatantly unfair and improper Chinese rules that force U.S. firms seeking to access the Chinese market to form joint ventures with Chinese companies. The rules enabled the Chinese firms to routinely steal the intellectual property of the U.S. This gives the Chinese the ability to use American-developed advanced technology to strengthen their own industries to better compete with American firms in China and around the world. President Trump is saying, in effect, that he will not allow China to steal our trade secrets and then use those secrets to compete against us. He is pushing back against a Chinese government that is slowly but surely leveraging its newfound economic muscle, an economy worth over $11 trillion that is now the second biggest on the planet, to gain economic, political and military power throughout Asia and across the globe. Consider for a moment some of the antagonistic actions Beijing has taken in the economic realm and beyond over the past few years. While the list below is certainly not comprehensive, it is long past time for Washington to react. Intellectual property, as noted above, many U.S. firms can only gain access to the Chinese market if they agree to what amounts to surrendering their intellectual property when they partner with a local firm. Considering such property is the innovative blood of a first-class economy like America, and the fact that intellectual property theft could cost the U.S. as much as $600 billion annually, this is something that must be addressed. In fact, some of the damage might be irreversible, with China now on its way to becoming the global leader in international patent filings, passing the U.S. in just 3 years, according to the United Nations. Trade deficit. The U.S.-China trade deficit in 2017 rose to an astounding $375 billion. For an idea of the scale of such an imbalance in trade, it equals the total gross domestic product of Austria and nearly equals the GDP in the state of Maryland. Just recently, the Trump administration has declared a goal of cutting our trade deficit with China by $100 billion annually, something that Chinese propaganda outlets did not take too keenly to. Industry subsidies. We all know that a key part of the Trump administration's plan to make America great again is to encourage Americans to purchase U.S.-made products. China wants its citizens to buy Chinese products, but to achieve this goal the government is handing out massive subsidies to its domestic industries so they can dominate the home market and the global economy of the future. This unfair practice puts U.S. companies trying to sell in China at a tremendous disadvantage. China's domestic industry subsidy program is called Made in China 2025. Beijing has set aside hundreds of billions of dollars for a plan to dominate and subsidize growing industries like robotics, 5G, biopharmaceuticals, artificial intelligence, electric cars and more in the next decade. China wants to make sure that it holds around 80% of its domestic market in just 8 years, something not allowed according to World Trade Organization regulations, and wants to be a major player in trade around the world. The New York Times reported this month that the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China concluded that the Chinese want to achieve their goal by providing large, low-interest loans from state-owned investment funds and development banks, assistance in buying foreign competitors, and extensive research subsidies, all with the goal of making China largely self-sufficient in the targeted industries. Weapons designs. Beijing has embarked on a campaign to steal many of the most classified and lethal weapons systems the U.S. military has ever produced. The list of compromised military hardware is shocking. It includes systems such as the Patriot missile, the THAAD missile defense system, the F-A-18 fighter, the V-22 Osprey, the new littoral combat ship and many more. Worst of all, many reports suggest China has successfully gained access to various design aspects of the $1 trillion F-35 program, the most important and technologically advanced U.S. military program in history. While it is difficult to know how much of these actions are government-sponsored, the reasons for such moves are obvious. With Beijing attempting to sell advanced military hardware around the world as well as build armed forces that could defeat the U.S. in battle, the motivations for